I don't know if that's a good idea. That's kind of what I said to myself when I agreed to take on a pretty big custom build project in my small shop in Pennsylvania, but I did it anyways. So, wanted to take you along for the ride. This YouTube video is a little bit different from what I normally do. It's going to be more just like storytelling. It's not an in-depth tutorial how to build this, but wanted to share it with you anyways how I did it, and I hope you enjoy checking it out. Stick around till the very end for the code word, and don't skip ahead to get it. I'll know. Right off the bat, guys, I need your help. I sold this dog crate for $2,000, and it didn't take me long into the project to realize I severely undercharged for the work that was ahead of me. So let me know what you think. How bad did I screw this up? I bought all my lumber from Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. This is solid poplar I'm working with, so my expenses were significant. I'm putting the face frame together here, and it didn't take long for me to realize. This is precisely the moment when I realized I need a much bigger workbench. Yeah, I don't know whose idea it was to build a 4x4 workbench, but it wasn't big enough, so had to move the party to the floor. As you can tell, I have a really professional setup here with some used styrofoam, but hey, got the job done. So what you just saw was me doing a dry fit test layout to see how the full face frame is going to look. This next part, I'm going to be laying out where I want my pocket holes to go. That just helps me to stay organized. For real though, that nerdy but handy pencil holder, it's the only thing that works for me. It's retractable, it just clips onto my shirt. It's the only way I don't lose my pencil. Check the description for a link to Amazon if you're interested. Before we go any further, I want to say a huge thank you to Kreg for sponsoring this video. The Kreg Pocket Hole Jig 720 Pro made very quick work of drilling many pocket holes for the rock solid assembly of this project. It has AutoMax clamping technology, which means it adjusts automatically to whatever thickness wood you are working with, and that saves a lot of time and effort along the way. I personally love the onboard storage. It comes with a lot of bits and accessories, and so to keep it right on the back of the pocket hole jig is awesome. And the vacuum port is a game changer for keeping the process a pretty clean one. Staying organized to improve workflow is an important goal for me, so I absolutely love these two features. Right now, through the holiday season, Kreg has tons of deals going on, and the 720 Pro is actually $20 off right now, and it even comes with a starter pack of 160 pocket hole screws. Use the arrow to expand the description below if you want to check out all the places you can snag a holiday Kreg deal right now. Till then, make sure you're labeling all your parts as you go through this process because it's a lot to keep track of when you're drilling a ton of pocket holes, and get to work on assembly. This is the side panel of the dog crate, and I will tell you a couple critical elements of pocket hole usage are glue and clamps. So you can see here I'm utilizing Pony Jorgensen clamps to hold my work pieces in place, and then putting some Type-On 3 in between the joints before I begin to screw the 1.25" pocket hole screws from Kreg Jig into the pocket holes. And the clamps are essential because they will want to back out or move on you if you don't have it clamped in some capacity. This is all 3/4 inch poplar from Baird Brothers. Love them, and they're an incredible family-run business in Canfield, Ohio. And this is back in my Pennsylvania workshop, so it was easier for me to get their wood just by taking a short drive, but they do ship all over the country, so I can still get their products when I need them. That's the good news. But still just working on the face frame here at this point in the project. All poplar. And when you're using 3/4 inch stock like I am here, back to that Kreg jig setup, you're really just adjusting a stop collar on your bit to the 3/4 inch label on the side of it, and that sets the depth at which you'll drill your pocket holes. And then anytime it's 3/4 inch material, you're using the 1 1/4 pocket hole screws. Yes, this is the fun part. I love this track saw. I bought it off of Amazon. There will also be a link in the description for everything I use with my track saw setup, including the tracks that I use, the saw itself, track saw clamps. And this one is just, it's the middle of the road option. It's very reliable. It's solid. It cuts square. And I just really like it. You get a 55-inch track and a corded saw for around $400 to $500. The price changes sometimes, so just keep an eye on it. This was way harder than it looks. Thank goodness for time lapses that kind of take out the obvious amount of struggle, but I struggled to get this lined up, squared up, glued, clamped on, and fastened by myself, considering I have the wingspan of a small chipmunk. It was tricky, but once I got it all clamped up, I could just shoot some 18 gauge brad nails in the bottom, and that was how I attached the face frame. And then once you get the side panels on, you're just getting more of that surface area to get glued up, and the structure just starts to become stronger. And I did the same thing. Glued it, clamped it, brad nails. Didn't take long for me to employ that same process of pocket hole joinery to get the doors assembled, and then I installed the trim portion on the front side of the dog crate. Next up, I wanted to plug all the pocket holes just to give them a more finished look, and I tried a couple different methods, but plugging with 3/8 oak dowel and then trimming it with a multi-tool was my favorite. Right here I am ripping down pieces of red oak plywood to make a faux shiplap backer for this entire cabinet here. I wanted to do a solid piece of plywood, but I unfortunately made one wrong cut, and that's all it takes for it to not fit anymore. So instead of buying a new sheet, I wanted to salvage what I had, and I could still make it work if I ripped it down into strips, and then I simply passed it over the blade to just add a little channel there on the sides for that shiplap look. This was a pain in the butt to have to install it, but I had to kind of deal with it since it was my mistake. Had to put one strip in at a time, and gluing and brad nailing that in and letting the clamps stay on long enough for that glue to at least be safe to remove the clamps so that I could put on the next strip. So, I mean, it really was like at least a 30-minute wait between adding the next plank. So there you go. I always act like a goofball in the shop, but that's how you know I'm having a good time. So this is the solid red oak top. I am arranging the boards, and there's a lot of debate out right now whether you need to alternate the growth rings in terms of wood movement and it holding up over the long haul, but I did it. Better safe than sorry, but you'll see later in the video how I chose to attach this to the bottom cabinet to allow for wood movement. So back to adding the next plank on. This is a real multitasking environment here. Then while that glue sets up on that one, I head back and keep working on the top part of the cabinet. I'm using a biscuit joiner to help with alignment on the glue up. Earlier I was marking out all the lines so that all the biscuits would be perfectly lined up. And it was finally time for glue up. A lot of glue, placing footballs, I call them footballs, biscuits in the biscuit slots, we'll call them. This was kind of a bear to glue up. A lot of, these are long red oak boards. I'm 5'3", so it's kind of heavy, but contouring clamps on my teeny tiny little workbench in my old shop. And thankful for the biscuits because this did need a little help on alignment because this wood sat in my garage for a bit. While that glue cured, I got to work painting. Why would I buy red oak plywood if I was just going to paint over it? It's a great question. I'd love to answer that for you. Maybe I will in another video, because couldn't tell you right now. I guess I felt like it needed to be cohesive with the red oak top, with the grain, because even though I did paint it, you could still see the grain through the paint. So my attempt at cohesiveness. But anyways, the red oak top came out beautifully. Got to work spending the day sanding. I absolutely love the 3M abrasive lines. The 710W is great. It's my favorite, but the 775L is also really good. And I do have an affiliate code that I can drop in the description if you want to check out that sandpaper. If you buy it from Taylor Toolworks, you're shopping small through their business, and I get a 10% commission, so it helps me. But anyways, stain took beautifully as well. Went with like a walnut type stain. And all of a sudden the cabinet is painted because I had a mental breakdown and hired a neighbor and friend to do it because he is a professional and I'm not a professional painter. So it turned out amazing, and all of a sudden it was time to get that top on. So used a Forstner bit and applied these figure 8 fasteners, which swivel from side to side in the direction of the grain to allow for seasonal wood movement. All right, home stretch. Time to apply a finish. This tabletop, this is a dog crate. So this top, hopefully, won't see a lot of traffic. So I wanted to use something that was easy. So I chose a wipe-on poly, and I wanted it to build nicely. So I did many coats, and it just got glassier and smoother, and just, I loved it. Time to put the puppies in prison. I bought hollow black tube from Home Depot and cut it down to size and use this as the divider and the end cap crate bars, I guess. And I'll be putting some in the doors as well. And a little tip for installing bars like this in a door: I simply drilled my hole a little bit deeper on the top than on the bottom so that I could slide it up in and then pull it down and rest in the more shallow bottom hole for those iron bars, if that makes sense. To be honest, this was my least favorite part of the project, installing the hardware. It's really nerve-wracking to have a close to finished product and have to drill holes in it and hope that you get the alignment right for your hinges. So I really took my time in making sure I didn't screw this part up. When it came time to install the doors, I used shims to make sure the spacing or the reveal around the door was even the whole way around. With one last look, I decided it was finally time to mark the holes where I needed to drill for the hinges to finally and officially attach the doors to the crate. Wait 1 second and observe how stressed I am right now by this giant sigh I'm about to let out. Well, you guys have hung with me this long. The time is here. Comment below, pups, if you've watched this entire video. That's how I know who's really hanging out with me, and I really appreciate you. But beyond that, comment what you think this crate is worth. What would you sell it for? I know personally that I did not charge enough on this project, and I really took it on because I just wanted to challenge myself. Well, mission accomplished. $2,000, let's just say I will never do that again. Now, this is not to reflect poorly on the person buying this. I hope they enjoy what I made for them, and I am glad that I did it overall, but the time that it took to make it and the cost of materials, I definitely should have charged more. But hey, you live and you learn. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.